there. Last year I discovered the joy of black watercolor paper. This is the Stonehenge Aqua Black Paper by Legion. I absolutely love painting on it because it gets my darks in right away. Look at this. Look at that owl. Isn't that gorgeous? I struggle with getting my darks in. And so I think this paper takes away the struggle that I have with that. Now, I decided to do a test to see if I can create a black background or black underpainting in my regular Arches watercolor sketchbook. I have done it. I put an black acrylic underpainting on this one, and it did work really well. But I'm curious if other underpaintings might work as well or better, or if I should just keep using the acrylic ink. I did try a tempera paint stick underpainting. This is bright pink that I put behind, and I really love this one because it looks so moody. I just think that's really neat. So I'm curious what the black would do. So I have in this one, we have acrylic ink that I have put into a water brush. In this one, we have Holbein acrylic gouache. I didn't want to use Holbein Artist's gouache, which is what I'm going to be using to paint today. I didn't want to use that because I didn't want the bottom layer to lift up. In this one, we have tempera paint stick. And in this one is Ohuhu marker, and I'm pretty sure I've all but drained this marker. It's kind of old, and so I don't know how many more uses I'm going to get out of that. I wasn't able to fill all of the tooth, but that's okay for this purpose. And if I like this, I will get another marker. It's fine. So as I mentioned today, we're going to be using the Holbein Artist Gouache to paint some cherries in each little block here. So let me put my sketchbooks away so I don't accidentally get paint on them where I don't want paint. All right, so I think I'll use a different brush. I'll use this brush, it's fine. Okay, I'm going to make a little cherry in each one with the stem, and it's going to have like a pretty, well, you can see right here, this is the background color. It is, I'm using, hold on, I wrote it down. Turquoise blue, I think this is the flame red, permanent yellow deep, and white. And as you can see, the white is used the most because I've got a definite divot in there. I think I'm going to start by doing the cherry. All right. So I'm just going to do like that. That'll work. And move on to the next one. It's going to be like an assembly line style, though I am going to draw attention to them if they need it. If one of them needs a little more love and affection, I will give it. Like I can tell right now that one is going to need it. And this one. And the reason I'm saying that is because the background is already showing through pretty heavily. I'm the kind of person that doesn't mind multiple layers. In fact, I like building up layers, which I think is why I like gouache so much. And so if I can get the desired result that I one at the end, I will go for one of these that needs a little extra love. All right, I'm going to dab in a shadow color, and to make the shadow, I mixed up the turquoise blue with the flame red and made like a dark red purpley color. It's not a very pretty purple, but oh, that's not. I have my window open because it's a lovely morning. So there's going to be car noise in the background. But you know what? That's life. Hopefully it doesn't bother you too much because that's life. I'm going to dry these. I am now going to add the background, which is going to be this pretty turquoisey color. I'm going to make it a little bit more green than turquoise just because I think that would look nice with the red. Gonna mix up a lot more than that. Okay. I almost might need to add a white to that. Let's just do this first on each one and go from there. The acrylic gouache is making the artist gouache a bubble on the page, and I think that's probably because, one, I'm using rough grain Arches paper, and two, I think the acrylic gouache has seeped in and it's like leaving little pinholes for the next layer to go into. That's just my opinion. Like it's not seeping in all the way. I don't know, that might be ridiculous, but it's what it feels like. Like acrylic ink would seep right into that paper, but I feel like acrylic gouache would seep in, but then also remain on top. The same with the temper stick. It's going to be sitting on top. The marker would be seeping in as well. Again, it's not a bad thing. It's just something I'm noticing. Okay. Yes, that's bubbling up a little bit as well. It's green. No bubbling. here they are. What did I learn from this? So the acrylic gouache and tempera paint stick, as I suspected, they're kind of sitting more on top of the paper. Yes, they probably sunk in a little bit to the paper, but it's sitting more on top. Therefore, the gouache that I put on top, the Holbein Artist's Gouache, was able to be lifted up easier on these two than on the acrylic ink and the alcohol marker, because these two kind of sunk into the paper more. They these two would bubble up when I painted. These two would not. I personally preferred painting on these two. Now, I don't see that much difference in them. I mean, yes, I do. Like, these are a little more streaky. This one's, they're all streaky, but this one looks more even. These two are definitely a little bit more streaky looking, and this one I think is probably more so than this one. But I like how they both turned out, both of these. Actually, I like how they all turned out, but these two I think were the best. I did want to keep this very painterly. I was not going for realism. I wanted it to look painterly and interesting, and therefore it looks, you know, they look wonky. They look a little bit choppy and streaky, and I did that because I knew the backgrounds would look streaky, because I have done this before. I have tried this on occasion already, so I already knew it wasn't going to be perfection, and I like that because I usually want perfection, and this gets me out of that. It gets me away from trying for that. I do think that in order to get the very bright, I would have to add a lot more white. Like, for example, into the background, I had to add white. That is not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just, it is what it is. So if I want it brighter, I would have to have white, or layer upon layer upon layer upon layer. The whole reason for doing this, though, is because I need darks that I am just not good at putting in right away. So this kind of helps me. You know, it starts dark and then I build up to lighter. It's just a technique that I think is interesting, and I like it. So I don't know if you like it, and I don't know if you'll find this interesting or not. I hope so. But yeah, I definitely think that I would keep adding an acrylic ink layer. I might even put like a gray ink, which I would probably just add more water to this black to make gray. And I've been wanting to do that anyway, because I wanted to try to have like a gray for shadows. So maybe starting with a gray background is where it's at for me, so that I don't have to add so many layers. But I don't know, it's going to be trial by error. I really think this was an interesting test. I really am glad I did it. I definitely won't be doing acrylic gouache base. It just doesn't make sense to me to take this places with me. I do take this with me places. Acrylic or art marker or acrylic, I'm sorry, alcohol marker. I don't know if I would put this in my plein air bag. I definitely keep it at home. So I might do that again. And I have tons of other colors of the markers of Ohuhu. So maybe I try different colors. That could be fun, just like I did the tempera in bright pink. So, and tempera, you know, it was fun. It was, and it was really easy to put down. But I found more joy using acrylic ink as underpainting. So this is it. Take what I've done with a grain of salt, and if you like any of these ideas and want to try them yourself, I really hope you do, because it was fun. It was interesting. I liked it. And look, I have 4 cute little cherries now. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me. I am so happy that you're here with me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.